Ali here at mindwavemeditation.com. Today we're going to talk about the spiral of doom. You know it. You might be in it now. If you are, I'm sorry, that sucks. But this video is going to help you get back to there. And there is just where we should be. Just being. Not extremes of joy and happiness and you've just got to be like gratitude, man, and all that sort of stuff, and not rock bottom, feeling like the world is over and what's the point. Just in the middle. Just not here, not there, just right here, right now, with a half smile. Even if you can't do that right now, just stay with me. This video is packed full of goodness. And, well, yeah, I'll see you on the other side. So who's this guy? Why has this guy got any answers for you? Well, let me tell you. And forgive me if you've heard this, but I'll whiz right through it, but I think it really helps just to help us connect. And my story was dyslexia, feeling scared and worried, and lack of self-worth, lack of self-love, no purpose, then alcoholism, addictive tendencies, and a whole bunch of other stuff, anxiety, panic attacks for years and years and years and years and years. About 10 to be exact. And that's a whole other story. If you've watched my videos, you'll hear all about that. I don't need to... That was weird. I did that and then a bird did literally that. We're tuned! So, look, the deal is, I was so sick and tired of this downward spiral of doom. I was so sick and tired of hitting that rock bottom and being freaked out and worried and then all the stuff that came with that I just decided to go the other way and 100% commit to going the other way. I landed over here, which is maybe a little bit further than most. You know, most people pull themselves out and go, shake it off and go, okay, I ain't gonna go back there again, so I'm gonna change my life accordingly. I kept on going. I was so elated that I got through this process, through the years of... Look, I'm gonna be totally honest. If I didn't have such a loving family and such a cool family, I would have been looking at ways to end it. And the way I was going, I was trying to do that without having that conversation with myself. The reason why I'm still holding my heart is because it just feels horrible to say. Or my throat as well. Throat chakra, heart chakra. For those of you who are into the chakras. It just, that's what I was doing. It was so painful. I didn't know what was going on. The struggling, the suffering, the anxiety, the pressure, the doubt, the worry, the fear. I couldn't get out of the loop of addiction, or this just tripping into the spiral constantly. I didn't know what to do, and we didn't really talk about this sort of stuff, or if we did, it was in books, or you have to go and see someone. Not like this, where we can just have a little yap and go, oh yeah, I know what he's talking about, I could try that. This didn't exist, so this is awesome, you know? So I'm really grateful for this, and I think this is why I'm doing it, because it's like, well, hang on, I got out of that, and now I don't experience those feelings anymore, or very, very, very occasionally, which we'll talk about in a bit, but like pretty much not at all. And I wake up smiling 95% of the time, and I go to sleep smiling as well. And the day in the middle, it's got its bumps and all the rest of it, like everybody else, but generally speaking, everything's cool. And that's because I made a commitment to get out of there. The spiral of doom, the data overload, the just the misery, just the misery of it all. So if you're there right now, I completely sympathize. I know that place. Some people know it worse than others. Some people have dipped the toe in and gone, phew, I'm not going there. Ooh, let's go over here. So we've all had a little taste of it. We know the rock bottom. And some people's rock bottom, there's 10 more floors. You know, it's all a personal, individual thing. But I want to share some stuff with you that you can do, which is practical, which you can use to help you spot when the spiral is occurring, and also, if you're right in there, what to do to get out and how to change this story forever. Because essentially, ultimately, for you to change this story, I'm talking to the ones who are deeply suffering right now, it starts up here with one thought, one finger to the head. One thought: I decide to get out of this spiral of doom and to become a healthy, happy person, or whatever it is for you. And for those of you who, you know, you're doing good, you're all right, but you may be just watching this out of just interest, or maybe you're wondering for someone else that you know, we all slip. And it's just the same for all of us. We just need to catch that slip. And if we catch the slip and we get to know where we slip, we're golden. So keep watching this video. And let's just, I don't know what this is. Let's just go. All right, so I was talking to a client today on the phone, and she was struggling big time. So I kind of went through this kind of just chat with her, and we spoke, and it was great. And we got from that sad place to the happy place, you know, the middle place. And, you know, everything changed. She had the tools that she needed, and we got through it. But I said to her, I experienced the spiral of doom about 45 minutes per year on average. And she went, oh, lucky you. And I went, yeah, lucky me. And I said, lucky me, because I put all that practice and effort in to get the hell out of there and committed every single day of my life to be free from that. And it's taken an enormous amount of effort. Still every day. This morning I got up at 6:30 and I did two and a bit hours of meditation and yoga and all these different things. I didn't do that for fun. You're out of your mind. I do that just to keep me in this middle place. And look, I'm not suggesting you have to do that. That's a lot of stuff, and maybe you've got kids, or you've got dogs, or you've got, I don't know, you've got all sorts of stuff going on. Not all of us have to do that. That's just something I've chosen to do. Yeah, it's a little bit of fun, but ultimately it's what, you know, I've fallen into this path. So I need to keep myself fully in tune so I can be of service to you right now, if you're willing to listen to these words. But it starts with just the thought. And yeah, you don't have to do 3 hours of rounding meditation and affirmations and all that stuff, but you do have to commit to yourself wholeheartedly to get out of that story. That's the first thing. Are you willing? Are you committed? If the answer is yes to both of those questions, then we are good and we can keep going. If it's, well, you know, the world's just and it's all why me and all that stuff, it's going to be brutally hard for you. I'm just going to be honest. People won't tell you this because they love you and they care for you and they just want you to be okay. But I'm telling you this because I don't know you, but I'm here for you. But I can say this to you. If you don't decide to create a better story, then you are going to suffer continually in this loop, because you've got nothing to look forward to focus on. You've got nothing to drive you back up the spiral. You need some kind of booster, momentum, some kind of force. If you don't have God or Buddha, Allah, the universe, if you don't have something like that, you need something. We'll get back to that later, but it's just planting a little seed there. All right, there we go. I'm smiling because I know we're going to make some progress. And again, for you, those of you who are not in the deep spiral of doom, you know, we all slip, we all got overwhelmed, we all have a little trip and a stumble and can't seem to shake it off. So I'm going to give you 3 tips how to apply these things to your life to make life easier, because hey, who doesn't want to make life easier? All right, I'm not going to spend time on talking about what is happening and what could be happening. That's all in the video down below. I've made a couple of videos about prevention of experiencing all that you are and all that you do, and you can follow those videos and they're awesome. It'll help you figure loads of stuff out. This video is for practical stuff. So let's look at the spiral of doom. Let's think about it. You're going through your day, everything's good, everything's all right, everything's okay, you know, you're one or the other. Then you get that email, you get that text, someone says that thing, you feel that thing in your body that you don't want to feel. The memory of the past triggers. The anxious thoughts of the future triggers. It's basically one of those, let's face it, isn't it? It's like it comes from somewhere else or from within. You know, we're always okay, and then the thing happens. When the thing happens, wherever it comes from, it's like a domino, you know, what do you call them, a domino trail, a domino, you know what I'm talking about. When the dominoes go, what do you call it though? What? Honestly, I can't hear it. Say it again. No, I can't hear you. You have to shout louder. I don't think your volume's up. Domino Effect. That's not what I'm looking for. Anyway, right, it's like one of them. You've got your dominoes all set up. Everything's fine. We generally don't touch them. Let's go with me on this analogy. Something bad happens. It triggers the, let's say, the negative domino effect. And you hear and it speeds up. That's not a bad analogy, actually. That's what happens. Now, what we need to do is we need to be tuned to hear that first, right? Because let's say the positive spiral, where you suddenly get elated and you're joyful and you're excited, we don't need an analogy because it's just fun and it's good. Sometimes you fly a bit too close to the sun, so you need to turn it down a peg. But let's just focus on the unwanted negative energy. We hear the first. Now, all we need to do is just be observant of what's going on. So if you've got a family member that triggers you, be aware that when speaking to them or texting them or conversing with them in any way, they are the people that are likely to trigger you. Same with a friend, same with someone, a colleague. You get the drift. It's going to come from somewhere, and if you know that it comes from certain people, just be aware who those people are. That's the first thing to do. In fact, I think I've already said that's the second thing to do. So awareness, I always do awareness to hopefully kind of like plant some more seeds. Awareness is really the key to change. And the great thing about awareness and observation is it's effortless, it's simple. You don't have to do anything, you just have to observe, witness, watch you in action. So let's say I've got a bad family, not a bad family member, someone that, you know, prods you. When texting them, be aware that their response might cause you a trigger that emotionally sends that first domino to hit that next one. Just be aware. So this is what we start to do, is we start to not placate a situation, but we start to change our words accordingly with these people, because instead of just going in for the battle, the people that generally trigger you aren't very conscious of your feelings, and they're pretty good with you know, attacking. So never try and take on one of these people, because, you know, they're animals. What we want to do is kind of protect ourselves from these people in a sense, or just avoid them in general. So be aware who those people are. Be aware what the things are. For me, it was more like coffee. If I had coffee after a night out, it would trigger me. I'd feel really anxious, and it set off all last night's whatever I'd done, and it just made me really. So, coffee was a bad one. Not sleeping was a bad one. For me, a big one was being overwhelmed, just generally being overwhelmed. I shut down, and it was always just like, oh, it's just noise and I don't know what to do. So be aware of your triggers, write them down, know them, get to know them like they're your friends. Befriend your triggers, because ultimately it's just a part of you, and the triggers are normally your guides. They're the things that are there to say, hey, this is what you need to focus on. This is where the issue is. So you might have 2 triggers, you might have 5, you might have 10. If I were you, would find out all of your triggers and start working on them. Yeah, do that. Okay, 2. What do you do when you catch the trigger? So I like to do it like this sometimes. Like sometimes the thoughts come in and you go and you miss them, and it kind of goes, oh, and then you're the first domino, Sometimes if they come in, you can kind of go, oh, and you grab it like that, go, oi, not today, mate. You can look at these like butterflies or daddy long legs or clouds, whatever. I used to feel like it was a cloud of doom, and it used to cover my whole being and then the whole day and everything, like almost like the Upside Down in Stranger Things. It was like there was nothing I could do once it had covered the sky. No matter what anybody said, it's game over at that point. So the other videos are more about preventing the cloud from coming and spotting it from a mile off. Again, that's the cloud. I need to change some things in my here and now. And then eventually the cloud goes away. Ultimately, that's what we really want to be doing. But when you're in it, what do you do? I had a great little system. PDF down below. Bad habits, unwanted habits, down the left. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and your good habits, what you're going to do. So important. So for me, it was being overwhelmed. When I was overwhelmed, or when I am ever overwhelmed, 2 things always get me out of it. 1 is my amazing partner who spots it straight away and slaps it right out of me, because she says, you're just a data overload, it's because of this, pull yourself together, blah, 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 all the stuff. And she knows how to talk to me, and it doesn't happen very often anymore, thank God. But when it does, she just, is great. So if you've got a person like that, it's amazing. If you don't, see where you can find a person like that, a friend. Give them a call and go, hey, this doesn't happen this often, but if it does, I'm going to give you a little code or give you a ring. Can you just pull me right out of it? Find a positive person in your life. Message me. I'll message you back. If you want to work with me personally, by all means, give us an email. We'll work together. We'll absolutely crack on with all this stuff and help you get through it. Now, if you don't have either of those people, you can create an overwhelm page. You can have it on the wall. It could say, when overwhelmed, or when in the spiral of doom, and just talk to yourself. Tell yourself in a paragraph what you need to hear. Hey Ted, seems you're in the spiral of doom again, pal. Is this anything to do with those future thoughts you were thinking? ? Is it anything to do with that past stuff that you're bringing up again? Have you been triggered by 1, 2, 3, or 4? If so, let's shake this off, dude. Let's go for a walk. Let's watch some comedy. Let's call John. That's just an example for you. If you're not called Ted, it might not work, but you can change the name. So look, this can work, and it's like, it's a silly way of saying it, but you really write down what you need to hear. Like, I've taught this to students, and they said all sorts of stuff like, come on, so-and-so, let's not go here again. Let's not dive off that diving board into concrete, all this kind of stuff. Like really, you swear at yourself, talk to yourself, tell yourself whatever you need to hear. Have fun with it as well, and see if it works, see if it just cracks a half smile. It's really important, but if you can find someone, absolutely. And if you can't, reach out to me. I'm a starting point. I might not be the best person for you, but I'm a starting point. I could lead you somewhere else if not. So that is your tip number 2. Let's go for the big one. All right, number 3, create a positive environment. this can be easily done. Now, when you're in the doom, you could be having the feelings of, what's the point of it all? This whole life thing is just a massive effort. The reason why I stopped then is because I know that one. And it's horrible because it's just, about all the good things and you've had good times and you've experienced love and joy, but it's just such an effort. And it feels like, it's just too much of an effort. So what you got to know is that voice isn't you. That voice belongs to the domino. All the dominoes have gone. That voice only comes from those lower vibrations. And if you really want to get deep into this, we are all vibration. And when you're in a low vibration, when you're in fear, doubt, worry, grief, shame, all of these kind of like less enjoyable vibrations, you're vibrating at a lower frequency. So, it definitely, it feels like that. You are a low vibration. And it's not your voice. It's the aftermath of that spiral. And it goes round and round and round. So what we've got to do is we've got to remember that we're experiencing a data overload. Everything is data, all the information that you're thinking of, the future, the past, everything that's happened, what you think about what's happening, everything is data, data, data. And it's like you've been overloaded, so you just tap out. So you need to set yourself an environment that pulls you out of that, because if you don't have the environment, like I said earlier, you ain't gonna get out. You're just gonna stay down there. So the environment looks like this. For example, when I was younger and I first started feeling my first moments of depression, I wrote "smile" on my ceiling and I used to stare at it before I used to go to sleep and when I woke up in the morning. And every day it went in and, it made me smile. And yeah, I suffered for years after that, but I can tune into that ceiling just by closing my eyes and it brings me a smile. At the end of my bed right now, I've got something written on there. I'm wholeheartedly grateful for blah, 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 blah. And sometimes I just stare at those words. When you wake up in the morning, you got that kind of face. There's no joy, there's no happiness yet. What we're doing at that point is we're remembering that we're sad, that we're depressed, that we're a pessimist, that we're an optimist, that we like life, that we don't, that life's a struggle. Our natural state of being is peace, is joy, is content. And it truly is. And it's like a baby isn't this, that, and the other. It's conditioned to receive all these programs and it becomes a belief system, a walking belief system. But our natural state of being isn't any of those things. So we have to reprogram ourselves for what we want and what we believe. So write on your wall, write something that, I am so grateful for blah, 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 blah. Even if you don't feel it yet, just the basics of what you need. Write it down. Keep it on you in your pocket. Watch some comedy, even just to kind of keep you from that kind of lower state, something that's kind of lift you every stage, try and lift yourself up until you get to that point where it's just bearable. Bearable's brilliant. And then nature's the absolute winner. Just walk, hug a tree, smell that fresh air, and just move. You got to move the system. You have this stagnant energy when you're in these lower vibrations. We don't want to move. We want to stay put because we've been working all week or whatever. walking just once around the block and breathing deeply is wonderful. So we have things like meditation and breath work. And if all this is just like, that's too much and all this sounds too hippie or whatever, then get in contact and I can talk you through this stuff really simply. And then ultimately, what you really, 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 really need to do is create a vision, a purpose for what you do want in life. It could be a simple list, it could be a paragraph, it could be a page, it could be a project, you could be getting into it and actually doing it. You could be doing it, you need to remind yourself of it. We just need a direction, a focal point, because if we don't have that in life, we just float through life and we can get swayed and we can go this way. But if we have a point of reference, a place to kind of, move into, then we can always tune to that and we can always remember that that's what we're here for. And if you've got a greater, bigger purpose, some kind of legacy, even if it's a small kind of thing, something to leave the grandkids or something you want to make of yourself, if you have something to aim for, to strive for, something bigger than you, that's why religion's good for religious people, because, God, Allah, Buddha is bigger than them. So it's kind of like, there's still God, there's still Allah, that's bigger than me, so my problems. And that's why that works for a lot of people. If you're not religious, then you need something that can put a smile on your face. No matter rain or shine, you need something to put a smile on your face. And if you really don't have that, click the link below. I've got a little mini course that can help you find that. Or, give me a message and we'll talk it through. So comment down below, share your thoughts on this video, go back through this and take notes. Anything that's resonated with you, take notes and start to implement all of these things and start to play with all this stuff. And it's a journey, it's not a sprint. It's might not gonna happen overnight. And if you're one to just kind of not be super low all the time and slip once in a while, then hopefully this will help too. So big love, big hug. Oh, go on, one big kiss.